Alright, welcome back to the Rising Empires League. And we've got Kosas K Pasan versus 3D Clan. So, on Kosas K Pasan, or KQP, because I'm not quite sure on the proper Spanish pronunciation. We've got Vortex in the blue trunks on the HRE, alongside his brother, Lucifron, the yellow trunks on Rus, and they actually are brothers, and pretty widely regarded as among the best of European StarCraft 2 players in their day. They're here now playing AoE 4, so thanks for doing that, guys, because this is a better game and series. And their opponents, representing 3D Clan, we've got B here, orange trunks on the Mongols, and Anatand in the red trunks here on China. So we're here on Baltic. I had to do a double check for the name there, because this is Mediterranean in AoE 2 and AOM, and Coastal in AoEO. So much for consistency and map names across the series, guys. We've got everyone. We'll start out with the dock here. So especially because we've got so many deep water fish that'll constantly regenerate. I believe it's 50 food every 10 or 15 seconds that they actually regenerate on each school of deep water fish. They also gather slightly faster than the shore fish too as well, I believe. Before you factor in travel times, that is. There's quite a lot of resources actually situated right off the sides here. Awful lot of gold over here, actually, so Vortex would do well to try and wall off just past that, if he can, or just make sure he's constantly pushing in towards B. Also a lot of gold here. A bit of food and stone as well. The resources are a bit sparse, actually surrounding our players' bases. Like on the map it looks like a lot, but most of it's really actually sort of situated in these little land passages on the side of the map. So players likely to play around warships early on, especially because you've got access to the demolition ship, so you can really turn otherwise losing fights around. A Rus player can have the least number of fishing boats as well, considering lodges are more expensive and are a 2 population fishing ship, but they do fish slightly faster and they don't actually have to go and drop off either. And even regular fishing boats, just the fact that you can get the dock out so much cheaper than a second town centre. Even though the fishing boats themselves are more expensive, they are also more population efficient gatherers of food, and only food. Obviously there's no whales to get coin out of the water like there is in AoE 3, for instance. Good job, Sean, you managed to mention 4 other AoEs in the first 3 minutes. But yeah, players are going to be pretty light on in terms of the shore food eco once they actually get their age 2. And obviously, they're having to go pretty heavily on the wood lines. Got a Kremlin here for Lucifron, so he'll be able to push with Militia pretty easily. Just try and harass the docks a little bit from the land. Maybe even prevent Anatan from being able to throw up a second dock or third dock as easily. Or he may just even leave them to be like an oh shit, I need spears button in the event that B or Anatand actually go for early horsemen. And Sifron with the fastest age up. Rus obviously not having to worry about gold gathering early on here. I mean, potentially they might, but he hasn't yet had to worry about gold gathering until he's got to commit to warships. So this starting gold, going for no eco text and then getting 200 out of the map pretty much pays for the age up and for an initial warship or land military unit. I guess that land military unit's going to have to be a knight because he's in age 2. He's only working away at Anatan's fishing boats, who's going to try and garrison them as they get low. You know, sometimes even the best of players can be a bit clumsy with getting the fishing boats garrisoned. I mean, if the opportunity's there, particularly if you're fishing from a close deep water fish or a shore fish, like, always do it. If you're not, you're being silly. Because, I mean, they're going to heal inside the dock anyway, as you can see. So unless you're really confident you're going to, you know, micro that well, you're going to dodge every shot. And I don't believe it's actually possible, like it is in AOEO, for instance, or AOM. You can dodge most of them. There always seems to be at least 1 or 2 heat seekers there. And it's just basically sacrificing that boat to be able to let the others fish for a little bit longer, but again, it's also misrallied one of his fishing boats there. Come on, get back to work, little fella. So they're only using the light warships, the galley and the junk so far, but we'll see them try and cram in some war junks and demo ships, or load your attack ships rather than load your galleys. You can actually repair with the fishing boats to get a little bit quicker healing on the junks than just sitting inside your dock radius. On top of that, you're not limited to fighting just in your dock radius, but at the same time it does pull you away from getting as much food out of the map. Oh, B's gone for a big raid here. Vortex already has some spears out, but he's gonna have lost a bunch of villagers here. Because I can't use caster mode, I can't actually tell you how many villagers he's lost. Anatan actually sacrificing his scout there and possibly giving up a bit much in the way of sheep, but at the same time it did buy a little bit extra time for the horsemen there. A lot of hulks here for Vortex. He's eager to try and win on the water because B's committed to that stables. Where is the stables? Where's his over? Oh, over here. So the beauty of the Mongols, at least, is they don't have to worry about gathering the stone once they get the Ovu. Well, they don't gather stone at all, but it just means he can actually shit out 2 horsemen for the food and wood cost of only 1. So it means he can be still paying quite a bit of attention to his water eco and his warship production. Even getting arrow slits, which is pretty handy because if you're going to be fishing a really close deep water fish or shoreline fish, or your opponent's going to push you onto your docks, you know, it just gives you that extra little bit of damage. It really forces your opponent to have to double down on committing to the fight, because these things have a massive range. 11 tiles versus, it's only just over half that on your hulks. You know, you get springled ships, or your even just your run-of-the-mill arrow ships. You're seeing some use of the demo ships here as well. Getting a couple of fishing boats there. So normally you try and use your demo ships to get very cost-effective trades into your opponent's warships because they are cheaper than the other warships. But at the same time, if you can hit 2 or 3 fishing boats and finish them off with that, it can often be just as worthwhile because you really slow down your opponent's food eco and really hamper their ability to start doing this sort of stuff. Vortex has no spears on defense, but he's a little late to try and bring them in here. B deciding to just accept the fate of one of those horsemen to get a pair of villagers. Sifron looking real scary on the water. Vortex also looking pretty scary, even through all the eco damage that B's been dealing to him. On the land, B's the one that's had to interrupt his fishing eco. So it sort of offset the fact that Vortex has lost some vills. And this is nice. An early knight here from Lucifron's actually going to clean up a lot of these villagers who are not going to be able to finish off the Barbican in time. Another villager getting polished off there. And Lucifron's just going to let that knight go. He's fulfilled his purpose. Killed 4 or 5 villagers there. It's pretty big. Anatan's probably going to at least start to struggle in terms of eco then. So he's looking pretty healthy here on the water. Perhaps overextending a tad. Lucifron and Vortex working well together to try and wear out both opponents' navies without necessarily having to fight them both at the same time. Anatan must have run down that deep water fish. Yeah, he has, and he doesn't really want to fish off the shoreline fish. So he's losing quite a number of fishing boats there, and B trying to send in an explosive ship, but it's not able to actually make the connection that he's looking for. So the water here is looking really rough at the moment for Team 3D. KQP doing a great job working together here on the water, and then on the land as well. I think Lucifron, the cost of only a pair of knights, was able to get a lot of value then. Now also forcing a garrison on that gold mine, which is going to really hamper Anatan's ability to actually keep making warships through this. It looks like he's pretty much been forced to give up the water now. B, fishing eco is still intact, but he's only got fairly minimal warships at the moment, although he does have triple war junk production at the moment. This has meant that he's not really able to commit to any more, I was going to say lances, any more horsemen for the moment. Actually banking quite a bit of wood. Okay, so they are quite wood and food intensive, not terribly gold dependent, but Mongol war junks. So Anatan starting to wall himself in here, and he is able to pick off a couple of knights of Lucifron's there. So that's a nice steal for him. Without Anatan able to support him here on the water a little bit, it's a struggle for B because he's just got so much to have to take a fight into. He uses fishing boats to repair each other and his warships, fight inside his dock. And he's actually now fighting underneath the dock that hasn't actually... Oh no, it does have the defensive tower. Thank you for the follow. Sorry, I just had to hold tab and check. Only playing off one monitor here, sorry. But a lot of that water now been taken out by Team KQP, so the brothers from Spain have really set out everything they achieved. Achieved everything they set out to do here. I said that backwards, didn't I? But Anatan's looking nice and safe there, and he's going to start walling off B as well. Well, B just trying to harass Vortex as best he can here. He's now going to go for the Burgrave Palace, so he'll be able to just push on the land really hard and support Lucifron. He's going up to 4 stables here, so he'll just probably slam out a whole bunch of knights. Rely on the fact that his ally is going to back him up with man-at-arms production. So Vortex taking age 3. Lucifron really just needing the gold to get there. Oh no, he's already got the building for it, so he's gone Abbey of the Trinity. Gonna snatch up a couple of relics. And hasn't yet got any horsemen any knights in production just yet. Lucifron's navy is massive, and he's got a huge score lead over everyone at the moment. Here we go, he's going for quad knight production. And he's got knight upgrade from early knight there as well. These militia should actually be able to finish off the horsemen. And this is smart as well. Good forethought by Luciferon to try and get the walls as low as possible just with his ships alone. So Vortex isn't going to have to struggle trying to cut through the walls, and it really puts B and Anatan in a rough spot here because they're going to have to try and get to Castle Age and hold this off long enough to actually have a nice mass of castle units to push back. So Anatan going for a bunch of rangers, and he's already got that one barracks. B really only has the stables to defend with for the moment, having to get a defensive outpost, garrison a lot of vills, and just sort of try and kite with the vills as best he can here. But this is a terrible spot to be caught in against like a delayed Burgrave rush as such, because you know they've been fighting on the water, but even still, everyone's been fighting on the water, so it's effectively getting Burgrave rush with nothing at home. So B gonna have to try and just rally away from this big mass of units. Line Anatan for a little bit, which is going to be rough because Anatan's going to start copying it at home soon as well, considering there are warships there. Trying to help those knights cut through, and the Luciferon still on 3 to 4 stables production there. So a way to see actual Vil counts, but no, that's it. I was going to say, is there a way to check the Vil counts, but it seems not without caster mode, which you can't use in 2v2, but GG. 3D clan tapping out there. KQP proving to be too strong in game number 2.